like happening here with Sikh people being attacked again. Somebody with a turban, a grandma. Once again, it's like a seems to be a story of the guy getting he got like fired, and then like he came back to the place. He got fired, and he's probably losing. He's losing his opportunity to people who are immigrants, and they look different, and a lot of the narrative, right, in media, movies, TV shows, you see when you see people with turbans and beards, they're often connected to like terrorism, and even in India, right? Think about like how much the Sikh community has done for India, and even during these protests in India, they've literally turned Sikhs into like saying we're terrorists, and even saying like incredible amazing nonprofit organization that do great work around the world are terror cells, right? And like so this is like not just an American thing, but it seems like globally the British, the Americans, India, like they continuously under I don't know like under inform on who the Sikh people are. Like, who are these people that wear turbans and beards? Who are these people that are in almost every community around the world? But wherever they are, they're like incredible service. Maybe you know a Sikh person. What has a Sikh person done for you? What has been the interaction between you and a Sikh, not a Sikh, but a Sikh person, a Sikh person? How is that? How have those interactions been? I'm curious. Like, like with this going on, I would like for us to, kind of explore more. Like, what is this situation? What is going on with all of this, right? Like why are Sikh people being attacked? And then why is I'm really grateful for some of the Asian American community because I reached out to them and I was like, yo, we're Asian too. When I fill out forms, I have to fill out Asian on those forms, right? So what's going on with that? So, anyways, outside of all of that, I think it's super important for us to start exploring, coming together in certain ways. But maybe coming together is also really important that we, maybe share music while we come together. We maybe share art or poetry or philosophy. But it's also exhausting. Like it's exhausting to like keep being stressed out about this. Like I'm like upset about what happened. In a large part, I'm not even sharing it, but the ultimate truth of it, I can put up a lot of facades, a lot of fronts, but like I lost my best friend in college, and I was broken. I actually couldn't even go to the funeral. Like it was really terrible time because we were like really good friends, and he got shot. I was at a basketball tournament, and I'll never forget. And he had, he wanted to go get some Gatorade, and I was like, wait for me to finish my game. I'll go with you. And um, he went with his friends. And the next thing I know, everybody's running out of the gym. I run to go see him. I run as fast as I could to go find out what's going on with him. And because I'm like, I don't even know if it was him. I just had this weird feeling in my stomach, right? So I run, and it's a convenience store, and I see him laying in his own blood. His turban's there. His turban's covered in blood. And he's like my age, okay? We're like, homie, we're best friends, okay? Like over the past like 2-3 months, we had become incredibly great friends. Amazing human being, super awesome, but also was like a super loving, giving person, but also a super fun, cool guy too. And he had a turban. That was the only difference. And he got shot at point blank range by somebody who was mentally ill, calling him a terrorist. And identifying, and he was like my homie, and he was like far from a terrorist, but like because of the media and because of the movies and the TV shows, and mind you, the news channels, like they don't also like inform or inform people on what Sikh people are. Why do we wear beards and turbans? Maybe we could be included in media. Maybe we could be included in entertainment. Maybe we could be included in music so people can see us more. I don't know what the solution is, but I think it's also weird that the Indian government has been calling us terrorists, and then all of a sudden in 2001 we got called terrorists. Like it's like weird how like why is it that after like almost 60 years of India and the British calling us terrorists, now the Americans are calling us terrorists, and yet Sikh people, if you know any Sikh people who wear beards and turbans, I'm asking you guys, like any Sikh people in your life, what do you feel about them? Like, how do they make you feel? I'm curious. Like, and if you don't know a Sikh person, or if you do know people, how do we share that more with people? Oh my God, and we got Claire here. Thank you, Claire, for showing up. Oh my God, you're awesome. I'm gonna share. Yeah, Claire, thanks for tuning in. You've been definitely an amazing ally in a lot of stuff, that we've participated in together, kind of raising awareness and bringing more. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious also, like, what are your thoughts with what's going on, and how would you add? I know you're like just tuning in, but do you have any thoughts or anything?
Hi, Andy. Can you hear me fine?
I can.
Okay, good. I think what you're doing is really powerful, and I think the collective consistency with which we can like sustain showing up in small ways and big ways is really important. I'm actually at like the Crawford County Library here in a small town in Michigan, and I'm thinking about what your whole spread looked like with civic engagement and doing research and getting involved in local government, local education, local policies, and organizing, and ultimately then, also voting. But it doesn't just end with voting. I think we have a pretty, oh geez, my laptop's talking to me, but I think we have a pretty, in America, our citizens have such a limited view of what civic engagement looks like. And if we could bring our compassion and our values and our imagination, our goals for a future that is more about bringing people together and bringing peace and justice, then we also like that does need to translate into like visiting our city hall, bringing that up, bringing more art to city hall, bringing more artists to city hall. And you've inspired me to do that, and you've inspired me to have more conversations with my family members and just friends who right now seem really like disengaged and disenchanted with where this country is going, and that's why they're not involved. They're just like, this country's fucked. But we are this country.
Wait, I'm not fucked. I'm awesome. You're awesome, Claire.
Thanks. So are you. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, you said a really interesting word. You said disenchanted, right? And like that's very magical terminology you're using there. But I think it's important to understand. I just shared a really interesting letter recently that was written between Aldous Huxley and George Orwell, right? George Orwell wrote 1984, and then he sent him the book. He sent Aldous Huxley the book because they're homies. He looked up to Aldous Huxley. He's like, oh, look at this book I wrote. We just got out of World War II. Shit's hitting the fan. There's all this crazy stuff. He's like, look at, what do you think, right? And Aldous Huxley wrote back to George Orwell and he said, he's like, in the future, the government and the powerful people are not going to actually use violence to control people. They're not. They're going to use something called narco-hypnosis. Narco-hypnosis. That's the words that Aldous Huxley said to George Orwell. So like, think about that word narco-hypnosis. Like when you said disenchanted, like look at the media people watch. Look at the news they read, articles. Look at the social media. Then forget about just that. That's all narcotic. But then you have like the alcohol and the drugs and the opioids and the, you name it, right? Now people are doing new things, ketamine, and there's like all kinds of new things just to continuously narco-hypnotize each other. So we're like in this disenchantment while literally we're being robbed and our futures are being robbed. At this point, it's like not just our futures, it's animals' futures, plants' futures. It's like everybody's future is getting, and the planet will be fine, Claire, but like I still think we can have amazing generations going forward, like living in abundance. Like I think the planet's gonna be fine, but like if we wanna like live abundantly, like all of us, we gotta do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you hosting events like this on a sustained basis, which I really like applaud you for, is something that we need to wake people up. Like we need to keep hosting spaces, cultivating spaces where people can sit and discuss and feel like, oh my God, my heart is beating again. Like I'm awakening again. And we need to remind ourselves to wake up every day. Like wake up. Every time we're faced with that narco hypnosis, because it's alluring to all of us, we need to remind ourselves to wake up. Just like keep, like don't become a zombie. And Aldous Huxley had it right. And I mean, I think that I've been reading a book about the way that we work and the way that we see our life's work, and how it's not working, right? And this is all a body of psychological research that this gentleman, I'll send you the book and the author's name. I can't remember the author right now, but there's this quadrant that he shows in a couple of his pages, and it's about high octane performance and low octane performance.
Huh.
And high octane means like ways that we become like activated and motivated, but also ways that we rest and rejuvenate and chill.
Mhm.
And there's low octane, and all the things that are narco hypnosis that you just listed are also listed in this quadrant on the low octane scale of things that are like alcohol, drugs, caffeine, cortisol. That's all activating us, we think, right? That's like
Right.
what we're using on a low octane scale to
Right.
activate us, but ultimately it's weakening who and what we are.
Right.
That's low capacity.
Yeah.
And the sleeping or the resting is sleeping pills, television, not moving, overeating, anxiety. That's all low octane.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we have the option to play, laugh, sleep, take naps, meditate, do yoga, exercise, create art, be together. And it's like, wow. And eating healthy. And
Yeah.
all of those things are what we are all like, we know they're good for us and we yearn for them.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we're caught up in our environment, and our environment is only showing us the low octane options.
Yeah. That's a really good point right there. It's like creating a balance, right? And like there has to be a balance. And it's funny you're talking about the quadrants, and I was thinking like how like the y-axis. I'm gonna be a total nerd right now. So you were sharing the x-axis, but on the y-axis, I was noticing that like there could be low and high octane like positive like things and negative things, right? So like you need good rest, but that's probably on the positive side of the axis, right? For the low octane is like getting good sleep and resting well and having good, efficient, healthy sleep, right? Restful sleep
Yeah.
versus taking sleeping pills, which would be on the below the y-axis or the x-axis. It would be on the whatever. Oh my God, you get what I'm saying.
I'll send you the quadrant. Yes, it's all visual. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
and
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
yeah, thank you, Claire. I think that's you like hit it on the mark, and I think it's this discussion, and we've had really deep discussions about this stuff, outside of any sort of like virtual space, and I think what's interesting is when we come together and we solve problems. Like you were a part of an organization that was like dedicated to it. That's how we met, like with Greenpeace, and it was like really interesting to think when you come together to solve problems, it's actually super fun.
Yeah.
Like you build relationships. You might meet your husband or wife or whatever you want to call it. Like amazing things happen in that space, right? It's not just like a space where you get sucked dry and you're like out of energy and out of money. Like that's not what it is it? Like to actually be involved with solving problems.
No. And it's when we take our values and we behave in alignment with our values, that's how we find our purpose. And if we lean into that purpose and say yes to those opportunities that are aligned with that purpose, that's how we find our community. That's how you find tribe. That's how you find the love of your life, whatever it is. Even if you don't find any of those people, honey, you're still going to be happy. You're going to be happy. And you're going to be helping. You're going to be a part of something that is moving us forward.
Yeah, and so that's interesting. So Claire, what city are you in?
I'm in Grayling, Michigan. So it's still in the lower, like we're still in the lower peninsula, but it's like way up here. And I was born down here, and I often like visit Detroit, which is where I'm from, Metro Detroit, Southfield. And so I'm kind of flip-flopping with like what local government can I plug into that makes sense to me more? Is it up here? Or is it down here? Or can I do both? And the communities are vastly different.
Oh yeah, big time. And that's actually, in my opinion, that's awesome that you're from a few places and you are connected to a few places in Michigan, because that, in my opinion, that makes you a more of a powerful agent for change and for progress, because you're now not just somebody who's local to one spot. You can actually influence several different spots if you can create the bandwidth, right? So it's really about developing we have infinite bandwidth, in my opinion. That's why meditation is important. That's why like eating healthy is important. Cultivating good community is important, because it builds bandwidth. So you're not like, oh, I'm exhausted to go to this stuff. You're like, oh, I'm loaded. I'm ready to go to the next spot. Where's the next city hall meeting, right? I'll go to all of them. Anyways, it's funny we talk about this because one of the projects I'm working on that I really care about, the democracy.club, the whole point of that thing is to actually eventually pay people like you, pay people like others to like actually go to as many city hall, be involved as and many, and be intimately involved, like be like go into it and be of service and find out what people's needs are, and let's address those needs and help them and support people based on their needs, you know. So that's
Yeah.
something, maybe that's a I throw up for you, is like a throw, not a throw up, but like I'm tossing the ball to you, you know, like in baseball or softball.
I gotta catch
um
it.
no, you're supposed to hit it with the bat.
Oh crap.
I'm just kidding. So yeah, maybe a toss up is like maybe checking out a couple of needs, like see if there's differences in the needs of the people in one of the places you're at versus the other place, and just kind of like you could even, I'm be interesting to document it and be like, wow, that's interesting that they're different, you know?
Totally. Like start building a Venn diagram.
Ah,
Ooh, those are fun.
wow, dude, you should. Claire, have you signed up on Democracy Club yet?
I signed up and I think that's all I did though. Like I
Okay, okay,
signed up.
cool.
I'm in there.
So we're making a pivot. We're actually making our platform a little bit more like Clubhouse now. Like we're kind of like adopting more of that model, because I'm learning that people don't like to be on camera as much as they just want to be like on audio. Like there's some
Hmm.
psychology there. People are exhausted of the video, you know. So
Right.
like we're kind of switching over that way, and that way also like it's easier. I think we can get more done faster, because video people are always, you got to get makeup on and all kinds of stuff, you know.
That's what we think. Yeah. A lot of barriers, a lot of excuses that people make, but whatever works, really, whatever gets people to show up. And it's nice to experiment with different modes of communication and media.
So I got a
That's
question
cool.
for you. Since this Indianapolis thing has happened, I'm kind of like feeling this is an important opportunity. So I'm gonna throw this up to you for either any place you want to, where your family is, where you are, different places. It would be awesome to like recommend or suggest like having like some sort of like presentation on Sikhi, like about Sikhs, at the city hall. Like you know, like during the city hall meetings, like every 2 weeks or whatever, they have opportunities to do presentations like throughout the meeting, right? And some of those
Mhm.
meetings are like anti-Asian violence, or sometimes it's about raising awareness. Like there's all kinds of reasons you could do stuff. I feel like this is a good opportunity to be like, yo, let's talk about what Sikh people are. So if you have them in your community, you won't fucking shoot them, you know? Like, you know, like you'll be like, oh,
Right.
they're like good people, you know?
Yeah. That's so important. And I feel like, as a white woman, like I don't know, I have to play the long game simply because I need to move into, well, here's how I feel. I feel like it might be a wrong move for me to like rush into like grabbing the microphone, standing in the pulpit and talking and speaking for on people's behalf,
Right.
when I live in, I mean, Grayling is not diverse, so maybe here would be more appropriate because it's not diverse at all. But down south in the Metro Detroit area, it is so diverse that
Right.
I would be better off starting with doing some research and plugging into a community there that already has formed, already exists, and is already doing some of that education.
Right.
So then, I can align myself and
Right.
and show up as an ally first,
Right.
collect the information that I need to be responsible as an advocate, and then move forward and take it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point you make too. I thank you for bringing that up. That's important to see what other people are doing and if they're doing it well, and support them and what they're doing, right? I'm definitely a
Yeah.
proponent of that. And I, on the other side of it, where you said that, what's the first town called? Grayling?
Yeah.
Grayling, that's such a great name. Anyways, that place, see, for me, that it's important to like go into those places, because it's those people, like the kids of those people, that whatever, like they're so isolated from like perspectives, like they don't have different perspectives, so it's actually has a bigger impact by like bringing diversity to that space, right? And actually being like
Yeah.
very like conscious, like it, not to be afraid, but to be like, oh, they may be a little hesitant, but they're only hesitant because they don't know. Like it's scary when you see things that are new, you know, like,
Yeah.
but you grow too. So it's like this weird love, this amazing compassion in that space to be like, you know, like, hey, like they might be scared, but actually this is the best thing, because maybe they might connect with another perspective and be
Absolutely.
like, oh, this is great, you know?
Yeah. 100%. And just because I think that from my experience, this isn't a diverse town or city, doesn't mean that, like, it doesn't mean that there aren't many, many people of color living here who are like what the fuck is up with the representation, Grayling? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So I still think it's a long game, but I'm willing to, like, I get jazzed about this stuff. This is another one of those like high octane, low octane things where
Yeah.
this brings, like, the whole point is to bring that energy and remember what gives you that energy, and then to share it. Like, it's not coming from you, it's coming through you.
Yeah.
So I want to be a part of it. I don't have enough information from within. So I want to know what are the next steps with you and in collaboration with Democracy. What is it called? Democracy Now? No.
Democracy. No, not Democracy Now. Democracy.club. Democracy Club.
Democracy.club.
Democracy Club.
Just Democracy Club.
With the SEE.
With the SEE.
Democracy. Like, I see you. Democracy.
Democracy Club. Okay, Democracy Now is a whole different story. A whole different thing. But like, what are the next steps to collaborate and sort of develop a plan where where this stuff makes sense, where we can build like a step-by-step program. Right. So it's not just me that can do this, right? Like, basically, what's something that we can create together so then it can be duplicated or replicated. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things maybe we can do is start to put together a rally, a virtual rally, right? And the virtual rally could just be like almost like a virtual like town hall where we can it's very intentional. Like, the town hall is to develop a document that we can actually present and use, like, not just like share, but use to like approach city hall members, whether they're city staff, city council members. We can go like, once you just go and see which one you resonate with, or you can like just maybe just go with your intuition, just email them personally, and just sending something that's like kind of like we come up with together. That's like, hey, look, there's been violence on Sikh Americans. This is like they've been attacked more than Asians and other even Muslims in America. Like, they're like, and we're like so care about Asian violence, but like Sikhs have been, there's more violence on Sikhs in the past 20 years than any other culture. Like, can we, can we present? We have a presentation. Like, I'm connected to this, like a community. We've been trying to raise awareness about this, and we can present a presentation, like creating some sort of like a what is that called? A template. Right?
Yeah.
We can. So if we do this virtual town hall, we can create the template through that town hall together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you know how to communicate to people in Michigan and better than we do, right? So like, how do we like include everybody's perspective on how we can communicate, right?
Mm-hmm. State by state.
State by state. City by city, right? It's different.
It is. And I was thinking about like some of the best resources I've ever come across in Michigan. There's an Arcus Center for Social Justice that exists at my what do you want to call it, alma mater in Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo College has a center for social justice.
Are you serious? You went to Kalamazoo College?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't even know there was a college called Kalamazoo. That's so cool.
I know. People are like, that's a city? And there's a bunch. It's actually a college town. There's a bunch of colleges there. There's a big one. We're like the small liberal arts weirdos. And then there's like, community. There's a bunch. So it's a very young, spirited town. And so this Center for Social Justice is where a lot of these transformative conversations take place, at least in my experience. And they're loaded with resources. They're loaded with funding. I mean, they're like, to me, they're like a gem that we can continue to like, I think if I were able to like reconnect with them, build a relationship, and then see like how we can grow, how they can show up for a Democracy Club, and be a part of it.
That's funny you bring that up. That's funny you bring that up, Claire, because one of the things that as we've been developing this platform, we've actually been trying to like find out ways that we could connect with organizations like that and have them become a resource in the platform, and actually what we're doing is actually creating like blockchain around that relationship, so that if people want to support their stuff, they can actually get they can earn citizen coins through participating with these organizations or helping these organizations create policy in cities and states. So we're actually we're creating this infrastructure to basically, I guess, an ecosystem for all these
Yeah.
organizations like that are doing great work to connect with citizens who want to do the work in their communities. And like, there's, like there's that right now. It's very hard right now to like be connect. Like and other organizations are not connecting with other organizations, are kind of like
Right.
siloed, right? So we're creating that ecosystem that they can connect to create policy.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is like on board. I definitely would love to like be able to find a way to help. Also, send them volunteers. Like, so our intention with our platform is also to like make sure that like we can send volunteers to organizations like that might need extra volunteers during an event or some sort of thing that's going on that they're helping people.
Super cool. Yeah. And I like that you mentioned the silos, because part of what you're doing is deconstructing the silos and turning it into a functional ecosystem.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal for us. I mean, and actually, Claire, I mean, everyone, maybe one of these days we should include you in the conversation. I know you're super busy, but it'd be cool just to get your insight and thoughts. And just keep in mind, as we're developing this company, it's a horizontal. We're a cooperative, so we're a technology cooperative. So we're always open to people joining us and joining us at a democratic. I don't know if people know what cooperatives are, but like there's no hierarchy with our company. There's no CEO, CFO. It's actually horizontal. So everybody has an equal share and an equal democratic say in the and whenever anybody new joins, we like cut the pie a little bit more evenly for all of us, and everybody's democratically decision making in the decision making.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create a tech company that's cooperative, because there's like, dude, did you know, Claire, there's like hardly any tech companies in America that are cooperative.
I guess people don't believe in it enough. People don't believe in the vision. What's
It's like,
up?
that's crazy, right? That means that all these tech companies are just owned by like some guy at the top, and usually a dude,
Yeah. I can think of a few. And by disrupting the tech world as you're doing, then I mean, the way that we change, because a lot of people are really concerned about the techocracy. You know what I'm talking about?
Technocracy, yeah.
Technocracy. Thank you. I knew that didn't sound right.
It's called It's called technocracy, not technocracy. Technocracy.
Emphasis on the end.
Not no.
But people are really concerned about it, and to disrupt what people are concerned about, which is the technocracies all around the world, is to infiltrate and to show them there's a whole new model that can be it can be popularized. This model works. It works better because it's different. You know. So that's
I don't
really
know
brilliant.
I don't know anything, but all I know is we got to do something, Claire, because like the universe, God, or whatever you want to call it, if you're atheist, the algorithm of the universe, whatever you want to call it, has like beautifully designed us to be like, we're different than all of our ancestors. Like, we are so powerful. Like, we got this like technology at our fingertips. We can communicate across the world. Like, we can share knowledge and like information. Like, never have any of our ancestors have this been possible for them, Claire?
No.
Like, so we can do some legendary stuff. We can do legendary stuff here.
Yeah. And people are inspired by that because we all know that it's there. We know that this is powerful and good. And we keep seeing examples of why it's messed up. We keep seeing examples of why it's broken. And it's like it's weird how people are kind of attached to this drama cycle of our relationship to external forces. Technology, apps, social media. Our relationship to these external forces is actually like, we're reflecting an unhealthy relationship, like a drama cycle with these medias. And we don't have to do that. We can break the cycle. We can we don't
gotta be
healthy boundaries.
We don't gotta have narco hypnosis with all that stuff.
Believe it or not, no narco hypnosis. Wake up.
But sometimes I like narco hypnosis with a good TV show, like Westworld. Like, I'll get narco hypnotized with Westworld.
That's a good one. You're so right.
Talk about predicting the future, right? But that's great. Yeah, actually, Dan, Claire, man, I'm happy. Whenever I talk with you, I always have like so many crazy good ideas. Like, geez. Do you remember the first time we met, we connected? Do you remember it was at your place?
Yes.
Was that crazy? What a crazy!
That was crazy.
Like I literally
You
came
brought
into
a
your.
film crew into our tiny little bungalow.
That's pretty
It was
funny.
awesome. I was not expecting it. But it was so great. And it felt so good to have all those people in our living room laughing and just having the time of our lives and learning about laughter therapy with you. And when we all laid down and sort of had this beautiful cuddle puddle and we meditated and had like sort of a sound healing at the end. Oh my God, I hadn't felt that way in years. And it's so healing. It's so healing. So thank you for, I mean, it was a beautiful introduction to who you are.
I have no idea what I was doing. I was really high.
No, you weren't.
I was high from
Are you
laughter.
serious?
I was high from
Oh,
laughter and music.
Kyle.
And you guys, I mean, you first of all, it's this is like my dream to travel the world and just go to people's homes and go to their temples and go to their city halls, and just like spark that kind of like that what you just shared. Like there's something. It's like a je ne sais quoi. There's not a word for it, right? But like it is this deep connection. Like it's we all have it, right? But somewhere we get even the good people, right? Even the people who are loving and caring, we kind of lose it, right? Over time, we get exhausted. Oh no, I'm cutting
Mm-hmm.
out.
Yeah.
Oh
You were
man,
cutting out a little bit. I'm glad you noticed that. And I'm not sure if it's me or you, but
it's probably
you're
me.
doing good.
But yeah, I mean, but
I
thank you
hear
for
ya.
but thank you for sharing, Claire. I mean, Claire, is there anything you're working on specifically that we can support or like that I can support? That's like, yeah, that you care about.
Um, at the moment, I'm taking a hiatus of off of like away from formal organizing, but I'm looking at ways that I can integrate my like inspiration to have a community garden up here with the
Ah,
local community with some really interesting uh, like permaculture programs and organic farming programs that are popping up all over this part of the state, especially in Traverse City, which
wow.
is a pretty progressive city up here. And they're very big on, um, like, they've got gardens that produce food for the hospital. There's multiple schools that have gardens and are producing food for the students and for community members. And there's, just
Amazing.
tons of work that's being done to basically take advantage, like, start building a better relationship with
Right.
food across all ages and all classes, um, the whole gamut,
That's
you know.
amazing.
So that's what I'm working on, but it's very shapeless right now. It's not formal. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what you're sharing is awesome. I mean, there's probably a lot of space and room for you to kind of plug yourself in and also, to be discerning, like to like recognize what's like, to like check them all out or check as many as you can so that you can like be like, all right, this is exactly what I need and what I want, and this maybe might not be the vibe that right? We have to evaluate.
Yeah.
We can't just jump into things. We also have to evaluate: is this really aligned with our values and our needs?
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my God. Preach. Discernment is so important.
Right, and that, so but I think it'll be important to yeah, just keep me posted, keep us posted, stay plugged in, and like whenever you want to come, we'll keep hosting these. And I would be wonderful at some point, Claire, like if we could like have like simultaneous kirtans happening in like Michigan, here, Hawaii, Florida, like simultaneously would be really sweet,
Yeah.
but until then, like keep me posted, and I'll loop you in with democracy too. Like I wonder, maybe I'll have to do like a private, like a more of like a private like demonstration of our pitch and like what's really happening behind the scenes, so you can see like the operation, and you can
Heck
see like
yeah.
if there's any sort of like advice or perspective you have, because you've been involved in policy for years, so
I would love
um
that.
yeah, yeah,
Bring
yeah,
me
and
on
thank.
board. Let's go.
Heck yeah, let's do this thing. Thank you, Claire. Yeah, Claire, and the toss up is real. I'll try to organize a rally, and like I would love for you to tune in. It
Yeah.
is really smart that you're in that rural, or like you're in a a place in Michigan that doesn't have as much diversity, like those are the places we really want to like activate people with more knowledge and perspective about not just Sikhs, but like just getting another perspective outside of their own,
Yeah.
right? Like I think it's because I think the Sikh philosophy is like this very universal philosophy that is being missed by the West. Most of the West doesn't even know about Sikhi, and it would be very helpful if people like just you don't have to convert or anything, but like, hey,
Right.
look at this ideology, like it exists, you know?
Yeah. Right. I mean, the point is to make people as accepting as possible of each other and respectful of each other's similarities and differences.
Yeah.
And so we can see the humanity in one another and stop the violence.
Yeah, and also think of things a little bit differently. I mean, even with that whole thing with the cops, right? There are people out there who generally want to be protectors and guardians, right? And being Sikh, you know, that's a big part of our philosophy. Is like our philosophy is literally we became an official religion because we needed to create a Jedi. Like we needed because there was so much oppression. You had the Moguls and you had the British. There was so much oppression. Somebody needs to be around to be like Marshall to be able to kick ass if people were going to attack and rape and pillage and do all kinds of stuff, and somebody need to protect that, right? So there are people who need to be protectors, but are they showing up the best they can right now? Like are they themselves unhealthy? Are they themselves mentally and physically unwell, right? Or disconnected, right?
Right.
Like so I mean that's we have to start approaching all these different spaces, what you just said, like we're in it together, right? And like let's come together and let's actually find out where people are ill. Even somebody who has hatred, you know, they're actually ill, you know, like
Yeah.
that's sucks, right, Claire, to
Exactly.
have hatred.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And a lot of people would rather not, I guess, accept that, like that health perspective. Like, how can we help each other heal? How can we have a health focused
Right.
approach to oppression
Yeah.
and violence and conflict and being able to see people in what are their needs, right? How are their needs not getting met, and how can we build, you know, a better system so that everyone's needs are being met, you know, incrementally more and more each day, right? Whatever progress looks like in different systems is dependent on that system, but some of these systems are falling apart because no one's paying attention to progress or healing or making sure that people are well within the system. And instead, you know, if we fall back on whatever other default setting is to demonize or to say, you know, you're a criminal, you should be punished, you are full of hate, so we're gonna just kill you. Like, what is that? Or whatever it is, it's so extreme and it's so disconnected from our humanity.
Right.
So I totally agree with your perspective, and it's not always popular, but I think it's true to who we are. And I just finished reading a book that's been out for years. You probably read it. It's Brene Brown's Braving the Wilderness. And she talked a lot about false dichotomies and how, you know, basically staying true to your authenticity is going to lead you to a lot of nuanced thinking. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable at times because your experience is not a dichotomy. Your lived experience is not binary. So if you're true to yourself and you keep that in mind, then it's going to be messy, it's going to be nuanced, but you're braving the wilderness. And like, that's true belonging. True belonging is braving the wilderness, standing up in your nuanced integrity and letting people know where you are, because that way, like, it's safe for everyone to be where they are.
Right. Yeah,
I just love that book.
That's a great point. I mean, I think you said it right there, and that's a big challenge because we get caught in this blame loop, right? And I get it, right? Sometimes there are people who like need to acknowledge that they did stuff wrong, but if we get caught up in that, I mean, think about that, Claire. In your life, when you blamed people, did you ever get what you wanted from them by blaming them? Like ever, right? How could we imagine, how could we put that same idea that we know it's wrong and it doesn't work, but we put it on a whole group of people? Like it's like then we're causing that same disruption with a whole group of people. So what was really funny, I was listening to a podcast the other day, actually surprisingly it was Jordan Peterson who was sharing it, and I was like learning, and I'm like, I listened to a lot of different people from different perspectives.
Which podcast was this?
It was with Russell Brand.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just talking about this. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I'm curious about what you're gonna bring up from his
Yeah, I mean,
interview.
he brought up the hero's journey and how like a lot of our movies and TV shows and a lot of the stuff that like is around our society, right, really enjoy. It's like all these like movies and like Avengers and you name it, like even regular movies, right? What we keep seeing in these stories is that the hero, right, they have a hero's journey in these stories, right? But they neglect one of the most important parts of the hero's journey, which like Jordan Peterson was sharing. There's a part about coming home, like in the hero's journey, there's always it's a cycle is that the hero goes through this whole thing and these ordeals and conquers the villain or whatever, and then he or she's supposed to come home and then share the bounty, like share like help the community with what the hero has learned, right, and gained. But they don't show that in movies and they don't show that on TV. Like you never get to see the heroes actually, we never get to experience like what does it look like when they come home and everything's like distributed and everything's good. Like we don't ever see that, right? We just see the destruction of the villain.
Yeah, that's the cliffhanger. And they keep that from us for a reason, because if we knew what that looked like,
I mean, they did it in Lord of the Rings. Remember Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Remember
it's been some time since I watched those movies.
Not the movie, the book.
Oh,
the book.
crap.
The movies are always change it a little bit. The book, right? In Lord of the Rings, the book, the Hobbit. I mean, what's his name? Frodo comes back to the Shire, and the big portion of the end of the book is dedicated to like the Shire it being awesome, like and like everybody's happy and the like people working together, right? And like we don't get that much in our stories, right? Like it's unfortunate. Maybe that'd be a cool series of like what happens at the end of like Fast and Furious 9, like what happens afterwards. What happened?
Yeah.
Like seeing that stuff, we don't get to see any of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars, we don't get to see. Where's the peace?
Yeah. Where is it?
Wait, the Jedis are fighting for peace, right? But then we don't even see the peace at the end of the movie.
That's crazy that I never even think about that, but it's brilliant because basically, I mean, you probably already thought of this, but because you listened to that podcast, Jordan Peterson brought it up and it's fresh in your mind again. It's re-inspiring you to like, reach back out to who are the creators, who are the illustrators, who are the filmmakers, who are the people that want to see that ending, want to be creating that ending, and want to be giving people that content and creating it for a reason.
Oh, that's
and not only creating it in an artistic way for money or entertainment, but creating it politically also in our own communities.
That's a great idea, Claire. I think I might do that. I know some people, and it might be nice to highlight them and tag them and be like, "Yo, can we get like the good endings, like the actual community building endings of these stories? Like what happened afterwards?
Enough with the freaking cliffhangers, dude.
Where's the coming
cliche?
Home? What happens when the hero comes home? I want to see, like, what's the follow through?
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Claire. Since it was actually ended up being beautiful because we got to catch up and maybe some people got inspired. Maybe they got upset at us and they're like, I need to blame. I'm going to blame them. I'm going to blame them. Maybe they want to blame more, but I hope people got inspired a little bit. I hope, and I thank you for your perspective and your wisdom. And I really acknowledge you for, always being such an amazing ally, not just the people, but also to the environment. Like, thank you for like representing where you come from and who you are so well and your family and just being a good human being. So thank you, Claire.
Ditto. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep those kind words with me. That was
nice. Oh man. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Have a good day. Take care of yourself. Be healthy.
You too, Andy.
Meditate.
I'm so glad I hopped on and talked to you. Let's talk soon and plug me into the Democracy Club behind the scenes.
I will. I keep laughing, okay?
Yeah, keep laughing, baby.
All right. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.